Hey everybody, I decided to do another product style review, okay? Something I learned about doing my first one out of over 100 videos. I'm not a big product salesman type person. I'm more this, just whatever's right for you, as long as we're using it properly, let's do it. So I learned something doing that last video on the income annuity that is really a great opportunity for a lot of people. There are a lot of do-it-yourselfers out there that don't have the understanding and exposure to real annuities, just the sales gimmicks that are out there, and they get a bad taste in their mouth. So I want to make sure people understand there's lots of great tools out there. I'm not going to ever do a video on why you have to buy IBM stock, but the reality is there are wonderful tools out there, especially right now. We've had 20 years of low interest rates. Interest rates came up, and there's really some great opportunities out there, especially in the annuity world. So let me talk about Roth real quick. Roth, it's an interesting class of money. It's tax-free after you get it in there properly for the rest of your life and 10 years of your heirs' life. Okay, so there's a lot of choices on how to invest Roth, but we need to understand some nuances of this. I've noticed a lot of people heading into retirement just trying to get money into Roth, but not really knowing how to use it. And so if you don't really care how much your heirs are going to get once you've passed away, you've got to find ways to utilize that Roth in a consistent manner throughout your retirement to really take advantage of that tax-free status. So building a good, strong, yielding portfolio, utilizing a lot of different yielding style investments is certainly one way to help you utilize this Roth category in your retirement. The vast majority of people view Roth as really just where they're going to put growth investments in. Okay, and growth is a funny thing, right? Growth, well, if there was a perfect investment, it would just grow and that's it, right? That's what we want. We don't want exposures to losses. But when we build a growth portfolio in the stock market, we are going to see ups and downs. So we're either going to be growing this portfolio for our future retirement uses, or we're growing it because it's the last part of our portfolio we're going to touch because we really want to pass it to our heirs completely tax-free. This is your heirs' favorite money. Okay, so I see a lot of retirees heading into retirement realizing they have plenty of resources and the Roth money is really earmarked for the heirs. Okay, we have to know losses are absolutely worst in this part of our portfolio. Think about it like this. IRA money we've never paid taxes on. So if you had $100,000 in an IRA and the portfolio crashes and now you only have 50, if you go to pull some of that money out, you only have to pay taxes on what you're pulling out. Roth money, on the other hand, you paid taxes on the full 100,000 that you put in there. Okay, so if that portfolio crashes and you only have $50,000 left in there, you paid taxes on 100,000. That's adding insult to injury. The after-tax part of your portfolio, you get to write off those losses. You don't get to write off the losses in Roth. So the perfect investment for Roth is something that grows but can't lose, right? That's what we're looking for if we want to be in growth mode for our Roth. Well, with higher interest rates and honestly, the insurance company annuity world being under such pressure with low interest rates for the last 20 years, they've become smarter. They have really honed their craft and have figured out how to do things utilizing the options trading world that's out there. So the perfect investment for growth for Roth, at least as far as I'm concerned that I see out there, is going to protect the principal, but give you stock market growth, right? That's what we want. We want our pie and eat it, right? Or our cake, or I'm a pie person. I don't like cake. So think about if we could draw that line in the sand and say we're not allowed to lose principal, but we could invest in the stock market and have good, reasonable growth that keeps up with that stock market. Well, the insurance companies have figured out options trading in such a wonderful way that allows this to happen. And that's the key to this, okay? So Insurance company, you put money in, they set up a table. Okay, this table that you see here, risk on the left-hand side. Okay, this is an imaginary $100,000 deposited. You start off with zero risk. You can never lose principal, and they will pay you the earning tier, which is a participation rate. They will pay you 136% of whatever that HSBC. That's right. They're starting to use it. There's the AI, artificial intelligence portfolio. HSBC created a portfolio driven by artificial intelligence. So honestly, backcasting and testing it in the past, there's not really any way to do that. We don't know what this index is going to do. Okay, so I have to put the disclaimer on that one. So this is a stock index that is driven by artificial intelligence. The analytics that they can do and the stock picking that they can do, that's what this index is. They're willing to pay you more than 100%. And I'm sure they're going to volatility control it and all those wonderful things. So we're not going to see, huge ups and huge downs. We're going to see fairly controlled growth in this. Okay. So as you have growth in the portfolio, you're allowed to lose it. And that's where this is so much different than the traditional fixed and fixed indexed annuities that are out there. All the other fixed and fixed indexed annuities, not only is your principal protected, but so are your earnings. In this case, we're allowed to put our earnings at risk, but notice that earning tier goes up. So we can put 2.5% at risk as long as we have the earnings in there, and we're going to now earn 166% of whatever that stock index does. And then all the way up to, we can put 15% at risk, not more than 15, just 15. So if the stock market went down 12%, we're going to lose 12%. But if it went down 20%, we're only going to lose 15%. But our earning tier jumps all the way up to 223% of whatever that stock index does, right? So now, okay, I'm tied to a stock index nobody knows anything about. Okay, I'm not sold. Well, I get it. That's why they give you 3 different ways to earn interest. B of A has a stock index that is a little more reputable, and you can look back and see some history and model it a little better. And so they've got the B of A US Strength Index there as well. Earning tiers go from 113 to 212, same in terms of risk. You've got the 0, 2.5, 5, 10, 15. So you can choose your levels, or you can just pin it to the maximum, which is typically what we're going to do if we're in growth mode. We're okay with 15% loss as long as it's only earnings. We can't lose principal. So our earning power gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So if we go on a 10-year run like we did in 2010 to 2020, that was a pretty good run on the stock market. This thing's earning power can just increase on you and build that portfolio really well, and then limits that downside risk. And then they give you the S&P 500 cap option as well. The cap on zero risk is 11%. So if the stock market goes up 20, you only earn 11. But notice, jumps to 13, 15, 18, and now a 23% cap. I'm usually not a big fan of caps, but the options trading that goes on behind this is a great earner. And this is what I like to see for a Roth portfolio that we're in growth mode. Okay. So interesting concept. They're allowing you to risk some of your earnings, not your principal, not ever your principal, by regulation, not your principal, but you're allowed to put your earnings at risk to get better earning power. And that's the magic that helps us keep up with the stock market. So let's see how this worked. So you got the index return here from 2006 to 2022. And again, this is kind of backcasting modeling, more just so you can get a feel for how this works. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's going to be what the future looks like. No, these are indices that didn't exist in 2006, especially that AI index. Okay, so 2006, it was up 12, then it was up 11, then it was down 5.8, then it was up 7, then it was up 11. So let's look at how this works. You got those earning tiers, right? So how much we're going to earn of that index is based on how much we have already previously earned. That's the trick to this. So it all works together. So here's how this earned. The first year, no risk. We only earned 136% of it. That's 16.3% we earned. Excuse me. That jumped us all the way to that 215% earning tier. And we earned 24% in 2007 because we got to earn 215% and it went up 11%. So now we're obviously in the top tier. We can lose 15%. Well, the stock market went down 5.8, so we lost 5.8. Just like the stock market, when it goes up and down, you're going to go up and down. You just drew the line at principal, though. That 100,000 in this example, you can't lose it. So we're able to get that stock market growth, that stock market feel without risking our principal. And you see this run and the earning power in it is so fantastic. You've got a couple little ups and downs in here. The negative 9%, even in 2022, this index only lost 4.9%. Think of the rest of your portfolio. I bet that beat that, right? So we've got some low volatility indices in here that helps us. We don't have the big downs. You don't see a 40% down in 2008. This index was only down 5.8. They're controlling the fluctuations in these indices. That's why they call them risk-controlled indices. So we don't see huge ups and huge downs. There's no 20-something% up. The highest up in all those years is what, 18% in 2017, right? The lowest low was -9 in 2018. So reasonable risk controls on here. Great growth potential. And, you know, again, not putting much on these indices, but you can backcast all these indices, and it did a great job keeping up with this indice. Blew away the S&P 500. It actually beat the NASDAQ if you include 2022 in there. It did not. NASDAQ really fell apart in 2022. Big downfall in that. So in terms of investing in that Roth account, having the ability to grow, but drawing a line in the sand for what you put in there, that's a really neat opportunity for a lot of people in that Roth. So either you're trying to grow it for future use in retirement, or you're just really trying to let it grow for your heirs. This is a great growth method. And you look at these three options on how to earn interest, you can change how you earn interest, but you look at the best, the average, the worst 10-year periods in the past. And that HSBC, again, it's artificial intelligence. There's not really a good solid backcasting like there is on the S&P or the B of A indices. So you look at, maybe let's look at the B of A index. The best is averaging 18.41% a year without risking your principal. The average is 14% without risking your principal. And the worst 10-year period was 10.2% annual return. And that's pinning your floor limit to -15%, meaning every time you qualify for a higher earning tier, you're moving to it. So using this as a growth tool is pretty fantastic. Annually, you can change your allocation to the stock indices. So if you want to lean on one versus the other, great, no problem. Annually adjusting your floor limit. If you just get tired and say, you know, we've had a great run, I want to lock this in, let's move everything back to that zero risk floor and earn that 120, 110%. You can do that. You can take the risk and move it back. There is a 4.5% fixed rate option in here as well. So you want to just move it to a fixed rate, you can do that as well. But keep in mind, once it goes in, it's a mousetrap. You can't take it out of the fixed rate. So that's one of those things where, because of the investing, the options trading that goes on behind the scenes, if you move any money into the fixed rate during the 10-year term of this, you cannot move it back to the stock indices. So that's one little quirk that happens in this style of investing and how they do this. The cool thing on one of these companies that does this is you have an annual lock-in feature, meaning you can choose to lock it in and then start that tier again and go back to the zero risk and start moving up that tier again, locking in a new principal number. So lots of fun options on this, and boy, does it really give you some earning power with no risk to that principal. That's right, no risk to principal. The regulators wouldn't allow this to be called a fixed indexed annuity unless the principal was protected, and they actually have clarification letters from the regulators stating that that is what matters. It's the principal. You're allowed to lose earnings, but you can't lose the principal. No fees. I made a video because people kept commenting, well, you didn't show all the fees. Well, look, most of these don't have fees. The insurance company hopes to make more than they have to pay you. It's that simple. And because of the options trading that opens up when you are allowed to put your earnings at risk, the options trading becomes incredibly inexpensive. And that protects these insurance companies and gives them some earning power behind the scenes, which then means they're going to make more than they have to pay you. That's the whole point of this. That's how they make their money. They don't have to charge fees. It's just like a CD at a bank. They're going to go invest the money and make more on their investments than they have to pay you. Now, 10% penalty-free access annually after the first year. Fairly normal in the fixed and fixed indexed annuity world. You can reach in and take money out with no penalty. Okay, so Roth money, if you need some of this money, no problem. As long as you need less than 10% of the full account, you're fine. Every year that refreshes for you, and the full value goes to your heirs. And in this case with Roth money, it's completely tax-free. How fantastic is that? And then 100% access if you happen to go into long-term care or you become terminally ill. That's another thing. Now it's a 90 days in a long-term care facility to qualify for access to this, and a doctor's letter, or it's an either or doctor's letter that you're terminally ill. So lots of great things about this. I think this is very useful, especially for the do-it-yourselfers out there. I actually kind of love having conversations with do-it-yourselfers. I had one yesterday that just made me feel great about the fact that people are learning on YouTube and understanding the whole idea of transitioning into retirement and how to fund retirement. And there's 50-year-olds that are actually paying attention and proactively planning for retirement in 5-10 years. I love it when 50-year-olds are planning for retirement. That's when you should be doing it. You've got to be paying attention to your situation and have a good understanding and know the tools that are out there. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That doesn't mean that I need to manage your whole portfolio. I can just be there to give advice and help out here and there whenever I can. And I actually enjoy that part of it. So hopefully this helps out. Certainly give us a call if you need help with any of this. I'm happy to help out. I'm licensed in virtually every state, and always happy to just piecemeal help wherever you need me to. Give us a call, shoot us an email, and I'll see you next week.